Sir, how do you interpret the relevance of Kaizen philosophy in today's highly competitive and technology-driven manufacturing environment?
You see, Kaizen philosophy is very simple. Okay, it's a mindset, and it's basically talking of Kaizen thinking, Kaizen consciousness, and when we ask people what is Kaizen, they say that it is change for better, change for improvement. Yes, it is. It is. That is a process. But ultimate result is that you must reach the best possible levels. Unless you excel, you have not done Kaizen. So if you do Kaizen and do some improvement, you have not excelled, there is still huge hidden potential of doing Kaizens. You should not stop there. And that's exactly what is there in tooling. Tooling is that example. I think either we in some of the industries where I have done my work, Dr. Murlidhar may have a different experience, Daniel may have different experience, but practically when we look at things, there is a definite need for doing Kaizen activities in the tool room, in the tooling, as far as the um, performance of the production on the shop floor is concerned. So, uh, whether it is thinking of the management itself, if they're saying that, look, we want to we want to use cheap tools, we see that tooling is an expense. But if they don't think that tooling is an investment, okay, which will bring amazing performance and results. So this is a thinking, this is the Kaizen thinking that they have to change, they have to shift. MSME thinks that it's very expensive, we don't have funds, we don't have this, we don't have that. They keep on finding excuses, but that's not correct. There's no alternative. You have to do the best. And if you look Japanese, if you look at the Koreans, if you look at the Chinese, if you look at the Taiwanese, there's a strong point, there's strong strength. If you see their SWOT and if you see their strength, tooling has been a very, very major strength.
Okay.
And we need to get into that.
Okay. So my next question is for Mr. Daniel. Uh, how do you see the growth trajectory of the die and mold industry in India over the next 5-10 years?
Yes, one word, positive, certainly positive. And it's on an upward growth curve. See, we are looking at the industry prediction is close to a little over 7.3 CAGR, but that's just, corrected factors. On the ground, it will go roughly twice that number. Then it reaches a consolidation phase, right? So, see, the tooling industry in India is growing by size, right? So, while its overall large number, when you look at the percentage of how much the tooling industry is of the whole manufacturing, that number might appear small, but its size within itself is growing, right? There are two reasons for this. One, is that a lot of companies that they call themselves tool rooms, right, are not counted as tool rooms in certain cases, while some in-house tool rooms within OEMs are not considered tool rooms but rather OEMs, and therefore that number might not be an exact one. But like I said, the growth rate is positive. There are real changes that you can see, and slightly digressing from my question that was asked. I was just very interested in what Dr. Puri mentioned in his slides. See, he said tooling is not a cost; it is a strategic investment. I think if the people who have attended the webinar here today take that one sentence alone home and apply it, I think they would see great difference, in their productivity. That's the Kaizen mindset, and what he spoke about the Japanese is that they embody it in their own lives every day. And that is exactly what is required of our tooling as well. That we need to make it our own mindset, apply it in everything. Dr. Muralidhar went into a great detail about, the application of conformal toolings, the analysis of how, just monitoring heat within a mold can give you close to about 40% of, savings. And these are not just theoretical subjects. They're practical approaches that each industry needs to adopt. And in order for that growth trajectory to keep moving upwards, it's very important that these small suggestions that have come out of discussions need to be assessed in conjunction with what is there on the shop floor. And then you need to then identify those skill gaps, technology gaps, and fill them appropriately. It's not a one-person job. Let me also add that it's a combination. Like it says, you need a village to raise a child. You need experts to propel your industry forward. Right? And there are good people in the business. There are good technologies in the business. I think manufacturers and OEMs need to reach out, connect with these people, these experts, and then they can see the changes happening on their shop floor. I've seen it. I've seen it across the last 25 years. My esteemed colleagues here would have seen more and contributed to more. But the viewers will certainly take this as a point to be noted, that they'll see the difference.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Dr. Muralidhar, would you like to add something on that?
Yeah, definitely the tooling industry, as Daniel mentioned, the compounded growth rates are very high, very optimistic, and the opportunity is also there for every tool maker here. The tooling industry basically is not, in my opinion, at least it is a opinion from my side. To There are many players in almost like close to 30 to 50,000 tool makers are there in India. Again, it is like what Ashok mentioned. Largely, this is a unorganized sector, scattered at MSME level. That's the large base which is existing across the country. Um, when you look at from a growth perspective or the opportunities perspective, India still the import levels and the tooling imports is significantly on a growth level. So for a OEM who still think that you know, imports are a good option for them, particularly from a cost perspective. It might be an attractive option, and there may be a technological difference. There may be a world-class supplier outside India as well, whether it is from Japan or from Taiwan or from Korea or any other countries. They may be competitive from certain perspectives, limited perspectives, or the at the opinionistic level. See, opportunities like tooling industries are custom built and custom manufacturing industries. Here, you will, these are not commodities items as a tool making. So the partnerships between the customers, suppliers, and then the steel vendors who are supplying vendors to the tool makers, all of these have to collaboratively work. As Dr. Puri mentioned, many of the government tool rooms which are sponsored and established at a public level are not working, because the main reason why these public infrastructures are not working is they are trying to function, or more or less their functioning is at isolated level. In a collaborative environment, you cannot isolate yourself and work. That is not only for the public and infrastructure, it is not for only for the customers, or it is not even for the vendors or the suppliers or anyone. This when we are trying to build a custom built product like a mold making, everyone has to sit on the table and then take all the stakeholders have to combine and then work on together. So excellence can only grow at a team level and not at individual level. Where a OEM cannot itself become excel or achieve all of its objectives just by substituting from a manufacturer, because when they're importing, they are silently getting into the running over to the cliff. They don't know when they will fall, and that will be very catastrophic. Again, where some material suppliers who are supplying steels to India, whether it is from in Germany or anywhere, so these industries are primarily built for European needs. Indian needs are different here. The class level of the size components we are talking, the customer base means the application level what we are talking in Indian manufacturers is completely different. Here there are industry. If you look at Europe, there are a lot of industries from medical equipments or specialized industries are there. Here, most of the manufacturers, if you look large base, are packaging industries are there. This is completely little bit different from an European perspective. If you look from an US perspective, they're largely based on the largely based on the defense and high technology based industries. Here, the large base which is there in terms of the volume of production here, components, is for white goods, consumer goods. The consumer market is very big here in India. So the profiles are different. So again, when coming back to the same strategy that in my opinion is there, all of whether it is a customer, whether it is the supplier, whether it is a tool maker, whether it is a machine manufacturers, all of these people have to collaboratively work and start integrating. The collaborative matrix has to become more stronger. Then the cooperation level increases, and then you will start moving towards the Atmanirbhar level, where we can start having own code. The captive tool room concepts which were there in the very which are still dominant in most of the OEMs, I think that is the death trap that they have dug for themselves. It will never work. It will never sustain at all. That over a period of time, the captive tool room will become a white horse for the OEM to carry on forward, because their main business is making product, whether it is a vehicle manufacturing, whether it is a electronic good manufacturing or anything. That is the core business for them. It is not the making tool for them. The tool is only one time transaction. So that is not sustainable at all. So the collaboration model, and then even for tool makers, they cannot survive to be MSMEs level, at ownership level, at the back end level. They cannot be supplier. They cannot be standalone. They have to now open up at their level and then look for partnerships. When I say partnerships, could be in equity forum, could be at the customer business level, could be at technology sharing level. There are multiple levels of associating with each other. We can only look at the future, or the future is only for them who are ready to handhold together and then look at collective growth than individual growth.
Okay,
That's
thank
my
you.
opinion.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Puri, I have a question for you. In your experience, what are the most common barriers organizations face while implementing lean practices?
Biggest barriers of lean is that they know what is lean, but they don't implement it. They don't understand it. Okay. And in fact, I would suggest that you should also have a webinar on lean activities and lean practices being practiced in India, because the way it is being misunderstood, I think it needs a lot of education of entrepreneurs, because they look at shortcuts. They want magical transformations which are not possible, and lean is a journey. Okay, lean and Kaizen are two connected things. Kaizen is a process. Okay, lean is an end. You become lean. Okay, where if you see the word lean, Lean, Lean means least efforts are needed to do anything. Okay, and We have very clear cut, we have to have very clear cut understanding of what is waste, what is cost, what is non-value added activities, what is value addition, and what is the role of management and what is the role of people who are working at the production level. In fact, one of the best lean manufacturing company is Toyota. And when somebody asks the same question to Toyota chairman, what does he understand by lean? Then he made a very simple statement stating 4 P's. So he says 4 P's define lean very clearly. What's that? First P is that a company must have a lean philosophy. P stands for philosophy. If you do not have that philosophy, that you should be lean and you can be lean. That means waste-free organization, muda-free organization, totally focus on the market conditions, totally focus on the customers. That kind of philosophy, that kind of mindset. Number 2P is the people. People are very important. They are assets. They are the real assets of the company. But actually, in our account system, people are on the liability side. It's a cost. People are never a cost. It is people who make or break an organization. So your people focus at all levels, bottom, middle, senior, and top, is to be very, very intensive if you want to really do a lean activity in your organization, if you want to have a lean kind of program in your organization. But then when you want to do lean, then people don't remain a priority. Only few people remain priority. Rest of it, basically what we say lean is least employees are needed. That means you eliminate employees. Now, how will I do if I tell a person that you should do lean to eliminate yourself? Why will you do lean? So the motivation level or the moral level of the people have to be very high, very different. The third is the focus on the processes. Third P is focus on processes. Okay. So process orientation. Everything actually starts from the process and ends at the process. Tooling is also part of the process. So I'm not talking only of the manufacturing process, I'm talking of the marketing processes, I'm talking of the supply chain processes, I'm talking of the maintenance process, I'm talking of all HR processes. There are thousands of processes within the organization. How focused you are on improving your processes. The Kaizen or the lean focuses on improving the processes. What are the NVAs in the processes and what are the VAs in that? We need to work on that and we need to continually keep on removing those NVAs. And the fourth and the most important is the problem solving. Organizations are full of problems. Okay? And we need to train our people to solve those problems. They should be problem solvers. Okay? They should not be problem creators. So how do you do that? That's the culture. So if you look at lean is a culture. Okay? Lean starts from philosophy, then it looks at its people orientation, and then the culture. The people remain focused on processes and they are problem solvers in true sense. I don't go to my boss with a problem. I go to my boss with a solution. As simple as that. If you have that culture in the organization, you are lean. Whether it is a manufacturing organization or it is a service organization, I've been working in manufacturing as well as services as well as government organizations where we are trying to make people understand what is process orientation and how to improve the processes. I worked in hospitals, I worked in hotels, I worked in education institutes, I worked in government departments, and the various IT companies, services companies, marketing companies, supply chain companies, logistics companies. Everywhere, the philosophy is same. Okay, so I think I made my point clear.
Thank you so much, sir. My next question is for Dr. Murlidhar. Sir, how is the shift towards lightweight materials influencing mold design and tooling requirements?
Oh, that's a very big portfolio which is opening, particularly because of the growth of advent in and the requirements which are multiplying in aerospace industries and defense industries and strategic medical requirements. So these are the high sector, in particularly the high technology sectors. This is a opening up a totally new platforms of portfolios for tool makers to open up. When I say new portfolios are opening and new sectors are opening up, means the new set of requirements will be there. And among those new set of requirements, the need for lightweight materials and smart materials are, and many functional materials are also, um, that becomes a imperative there. Now, getting back to the mold making, the traditional methodologies what mold makers are typically, thumb rule based, or the um, uh, standardized methods, which are the practice oriented, which are developed from knowledge base techniques, which most people are very comfortable using. The conventional methods of thumb rule methods and the, you can call, jugards, will not work into the new sectors which are there, like new lightweight materials or the any other functional requirements which are going to come into the new sectors. The primary shift when we want to adapt to the new set of requirements is at the mindset level, as Dr. Puri was talking. Here also in mold making and the tool makers thought process is, he has to look from the scientific perspectives. Why am I designing this? Why should I be designing this? How should I be designing this? You should know the mathematics behind that, because tool making is primarily a mathematics, and where 90% of the people across the world, not just in India, across the world, don't understand that. They're all accustomed to the thumb rules, the age-old methods or conventional methods which are there, whether it is the runner design, impression design, core cavity extraction, all of these activities, we are all presets. That preset has to be broken up, and you can't try to make a mistake and then try to correct it. That's what again Kaizen and Lean, what we're talking. We have to design perfectly itself, and when we want to design perfectly itself, we need to know the mathematics, we need to know the physics of it, we need to know the chemistry of it. That's very imperative. And if you are if you are trying to recruit people from technician level and then try to ask them to design aircraft, it is ridiculous. So you need to have a expert level at expertise, required expertise level. Every job has the expertise level. Today, the challenge before tool makers, in my opinion, is not the revenues, because OEM customers are continuously importing, and the import levels of tools are nearly gone to 30-35% of the total industry worth today. What does it mean? When we already have 30,000 industries which are not having work at all, and the growth imports are increasing, means it is not the question of market. We no longer have to blame market. The difficulty with the primary difficulty with which nobody is realizing is, none of these industries are looking at competency level. They think that what my 100 years, 50 years before, 60 years before, what we were doing, we will be able to do that and then survive for another 100 years. That is not the reality. And if uh, unless and otherwise you go out of this mind, come out of this mindset and look the problems as problems itself, as at their domain itself, in a completely open-minded with a informed level of understanding, when we want to look at the problems or the inquiries which are coming, and what customers are actually requiring, and what needs they have not implied at all. And if we are able to read their mindsets and their needs, and we are able to give at a competitive level, and the competitive level means it also includes the competence level. The competence level what customers need is at world class level, because they are also competing at a their global competitiveness is at stake. So when customers OEMs global competitiveness is at stake, and given the geopolitical changes which are happening, which is the dynamic changes, the customers are no longer anchored to any continent or any place. So if some customers think that they are sitting at a higher level and then start dictating, that is like you are sitting in a glass cage level, because customers are also changing, markets are changing, the opportunities are very high. If not this customer, we have many customers. If not you, customer also has many vendors. So at this level of at the scale we are operating at a global scale, uh, the competitiveness based on competence also has to be at world class level of competence.
Thank you.
Giving a very small example for that is, quoting that is, in the last 50 years to 60 years, in a tooling field, India has not had a patent at all. Most of the tool room makers have not thought about filing patents at all. So when you are not able to file patents, like what Dr. Puri was saying, you will only be following a leader, who is ahead of you. So and that will ever and ever continue to exist. That's my opinion.
Thank you. So my next question is for Mr. Daniel. Uh, how are you? How are emerging technologies such as CAD, CAM, and simulation software, and digital twins transforming die and molding design process?
Okay. See, first of all, these are not emerging technologies. CAD/CAM has been one of the early adopters of CAD/CAM was the tooling industry. Uh, I can put it out there for the record. So CAD/CAM, the creation of modern CAD/CAM system, the basis is a tool room, or the kind of parts that you would make in a tool room is the basis of development that you see in today's CAD/CAM systems. Now, CAD/CAM has come a long way. You spoke of digital twins. Digital twin also is 20-year-old technology. Um, but then, how these are being used in conjunction with modern systems? I said that it's no longer an island. They're not silos. You are working towards a connected world, where you have your ERP systems that are speaking to your manufacturing systems. You have your manufacturing execution systems. You have your CAD/CAM software. You have your metrology software. You have your compliances, part of it. You have the sustainability part of the organization that connects into it. There's a people, process and knowledge part of it which connects into it. So CAD/CAM has now evolved. Today's CAD/CAM is an inclusive system that connects and works with all of these expanded and extended systems in an organization. Now, in addition to it, the modern, which is more recent of technologies, is artificial intelligence, which is now being embedded into these software so that it can truly make sense of interaction with this ecosystem. Now, there's certain limitations to human ability and human thought, but when you automate, Dr. Muralidhar said that tooling is a science. It's not, you can't just get a CNC machine today and call yourself a tool maker. No, You have to understand the science of what mold making is, what die making is, what are the materials, what are the stresses, how do you de-stress a part. There are 10,000 things that can be spoken of every single element when you speak about tool making. That's not the point here. But when the variables are so much, and in order to tie them all together and to make comprehensive sense of it, these modern systems such as AI are now able to simplify those systems and produce a dashboard that humans can look at and make decisions. They're simply enabling decision support systems.
Okay. Thank you. How can tool rooms reduce waste while maintaining stringent quality requirements?
This is again, we have to look into the when you look at the waste, you have to look at the process of making the tool. Okay, you have to do the micro analysis of the process, right from designing of the tool to the manufacturing process of the tool. So we call it a complete value stream mapping that we'll have to do, and we'll have to then identify the non-value activities from that. So one is, there are various types of waste. One is when you look at the cost of manufacturing of a tool, right? One is the material waste and the other is the productivity waste. So in some cases, there could be also quality issues. That means you're making the tool, but you're wasting, the tool has not met the requirements, and then you are wasting it. So in one sentence, I would say that we are not value adding consultants, we are non-value adding consultants. We look at non-valued activities. We don't look at, we are not techies. So we work together with techies, and then we look at where are, with a magnified eye, we try to look where are these wastes in terms of timeline and in terms of material costs. And of course, in terms of, it depends on the quality of the designers, the quality of the software, all kinds of things, because despite the best softwares I've seen, the wastage is taking place. So normally what we do is we do an assessment of what has been the trends in terms of waste. We do an assessment first and what's going on, okay, the current state of affairs. And then based on the current state, we try to do some analytics where we say that this has been the past trend in terms of waste. So that becomes our benchmark. How do we handle those? So as I said, in any activity that you do, you have to see the processes and you have to see the problems. The moment you see the processes, the problems will emerge. And that's what I said, the skill to solve the problems. So it's a process, okay? And that's how we design any process you give to us. We look at the process and then we look at the various opportunities which we can see as potential to reduce the costs and timelines.
Thank you so much.